My name is Karen Maldonado, and I share the position of the Director of Education Reform for the Financial Oversight and Management Board for Puerto Rico, also known as FOMB. I'm actually excited, honored, and quite humbled to be standing in front of you here today. I am here to discuss the Leadership Development Program, one that PRDE and FOMB are collaborating to transform public education on the island of Puerto Rico. Our conversation today is an opportunity to bring this fundamentally important subject into the spotlight. Education is the foundation of society. It impacts everyone in this room and everyone listening online. Today's discussion will showcase how the Puerto Rico Department of Education, or PRDE, has been able to persist and continue working to support its students, its families, its community, and the island, and how it has collaborated with FOMB on the Puerto Rico Education Leadership Development Program and other initiatives that support Puerto Rico's goals. Our conversation today will have three parts. First, we will share an overview of the Leadership Development Program and the ways in which it responds to the challenges and the opportunities that face Puerto Rico. Second, we will hear from Puerto Rico's Department of Education Secretary, Eliezer Ramos, about his vision and the department's leader and for the second cohort of the Leadership Development Program. And then finally, we will hear from alumni of the Puerto Rico Education Leadership Development Program. We'll hear about opportunities that the program alumni have received and what they believe is the future of K-12 education leadership. So last year, FOMB and PRDE co-launched the Puerto Rico Education Leadership Development Program, a hallmark collaboration working to provide PRDE leaders with the tools needed to support improved student outcomes across the island. One of PRDE's greatest challenges is being able to manage towards its strategic plan and its education reform and agency efficiency milestones in the fiscal plan. It's having enough capacity. And when I talk about capacity, I'm talking about employees at the organization with the right set of knowledge and skills to lead and implement strategic initiatives. To address this, last spring, we launched the Leadership Development Program in collaboration with PRDE. We jointly selected 9 PRDE fellows, all mid-career managers in academics, data, and other departments, through a competitive application and interview process. The program honed their leadership and personal skills and content knowledge by participating in opportunities as the following: bi-weekly in-person training sessions where they heard from subject matter experts, including FOMB staff and board members, on pertinent topics like data-driven decision-making and financial equity in education. A visit to Miami-Dade public schools, where they were able to observe best practices from their peers at an excellent school district. Group action learning projects, where they developed a plan to address critical needs at PRDE using the skills that they actually developed in the program. And these action learning projects range from family engagement for marginalized communities, data-driven decision-making for educators to better inform their curriculum, and a pathway for a high-quality principal pipeline initiative. The Secretary of Education approved all 3 projects, and he will support these projects for implementation. So you'll hear from some participants shortly, but overall, the inaugural cohort gave very positive feedback on the program, noting that it helped in the day-to-day roles and prepared them to progress at the department. Fortunately, the second cohort is set to launch next week on January 25th. The program has expanded its participant count and doubled in duration of time. It includes cross-functional leaders from budget, finance, and academics, as well as central and regional representation. PRDE and the government, with the support of FOMB, are pursuing many avenues to address education reform on the island. This Leadership Development Program is one of those avenues to support education transformation. We've seen similar programs work in other K-12 public districts to build a pipeline of leaders. The program is designed to address specific opportunities for education transformation in Puerto Rico through a series of modules, including data-driven practices to support student instruction, financial equity in education, strategic thinking, a capstone trip to a peer district, which once again, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, which similar to PRDE, recently launched a new strategic plan. So reaching PRDE's strategic plan goals through strong leadership is more important than ever. The last several years on the island have been incredibly challenged for Puerto Rican people. Puerto Ricans have suffered from the effects of climate challenges, devastating hurricanes and earthquakes, and confronted a global pandemic in addition to facing financial and other challenges. These disruptions have had a great and a direct impact on the Puerto Rican Department of Education and its community. Many families have been forced to relocate, and public school enrollment has fallen across the island. Students have missed nearly an entire school year due to learning disruption from disasters and the pandemic, including a hurricane last year that shut many schools down for 2 weeks. So driven in part by these challenges, public school enrollment in Puerto Rico has been consistently shrinking for the past few years. In fiscal year 2014, there were over 400,000 students. This year, there are 245,000. Last year alone, PRDE's enrollment declined by 11,000 students. We do not expect this trajectory to change in the future, and PRDE's future leaders should be equipped to support the department through enrollment changes. The effects of the pandemic and other challenges have played out in PRDE's academic benchmark results as well. Recently, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, also known as NAEP, published the results from its first exam after the COVID-19 pandemic. The NAEP exam, or the nation's report card, as some people refer to it as, is an exam from the US Department of Education to track students' achievement over time across multiple subject areas. It collects data from across the mainland as well in Puerto Rico. Out of the 54 participating jurisdictions, PRDE scored the lowest in 4th grade math, and it's 57 points below the national average. The data also suggests that no PRDE student scored proficient or above. So the NAEP levels are basic, proficient, and advanced, and PRDE students did not score proficient or above. While PRDE has historically performed behind peers on benchmarks such as these, there is reason to believe that the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated this gap. PRDE leaders must be equipped with the tools to best support student outcomes and academic recovery, like strategic thinking, robust professional development, and data-driven decision-making. The Puerto Rico Education Leadership Development Program aims to develop leaders who can support academic achievement for all students by including modules of data-driven decision-making and other important skills. PRDE is making strides to support its community, and the graduates from the Leadership Development Program, which you'll hear from in a bit, will be positioned to support PRDE's priorities for the future. So this page that you see here highlights 3 of the important initiatives the department is undertaking for strategic planning, instruction, and academic recovery. So let's begin with strategic planning. In 2021, PRDE published a new 5-year strategic plan to support its goals to provide students a high-quality school environment that meets their academic, social-emotional, and physical needs. To design this plan, PRDE collaborated with local nonprofits and the broader school community. Parents, students, teachers, and directors all gave input into PRDE's strategic plan. PRDE is now actively working to implement its strategic plan through initiatives like the Facilities Master Plan. This Facilities Master Plan is a document that outlines a path to provide all students with safe, secure, and up-to-date schools. Return to school. PRDE has recognized the importance of in-person instruction, particularly following the learning disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the natural disasters. It remained agile even when tragedy struck once again in the form of Hurricane Fiona this past October. PRDE quickly mobilized to identify safe and secure locations to provide learning continuity and a safe space for families in time of crisis. And then we have academic recovery. PRDE has continued to face and to focus on academic recovery as one of its top priorities. Districts across the country saw a decline in student achievement during the COVID-19 pandemic, and PRDE wasn't an exception. In response, PRDE launched an after-school program called Refuerzo Académico Extendido, also known as RAI, to provide students additional academic support, tutoring, and enrichment. By extending the time students are present in school, it supports academic achievement as well as provides a safe place for students to work and learn after school day ends. So all of this actually connects to the Leadership Development Program. The connection to this program is quite clear. The participants come from across PRDE functional areas. They develop cross-functional connections through the program, and they can support implementation of the department's strategic priorities.